Well, maybe let's start with the responsibility of Parliament. You know, the Parliament has got the mandate to approve the budget, the budget that is funding various government projects and state projects. And inherent in that responsibility is to monitor, is for Parliament to monitor how these projects are implemented. In other words, how the money has been spent. Is the money spent in the right way for the right projects in a timely manner? So that's one of the responsibilities of Parliament, and our committee is charged with that responsibility to oversee specific projects that are within the scope of the committee. In other words, those that are in the area of transport and in the area of works, for instance, different infrastructural projects such as the railway lines, those that are in the ambit of industrialization under the Ministry of Industries. So those are the responsibilities that are under our committee, and therefore it's important for us to go and first of all speak to the people on the ground, the officials that are implementing these projects, and also inspect to verify whether the projects are indeed being implemented and whether they're implemented timely, in a timely manner, and whether it's value for money. So that's really the main purpose of our visit. So we will be in the Chreslie region for the next few days. We'll be in Keetmans, and then we go to Windhoek. From there we'll go to Oranjemund. We'll then come back to Keetmans to look at the informal settlement, because that's also within the mandate of the committee, and we'll proceed to Maheke thereafter. So the main purpose really, as I said, is to monitor the implementation of these projects, see whether they are making progress and whether service delivery is improving, and whether they are unlocking economic opportunities as they intended to unlock economic opportunities, for instance, infrastructural projects.
Okay.
So that's the main purpose.
Can you delve more into what exactly are we referring to in this case when we talk about the capital projects?
Yes. For instance, what are we going to do in Keetmans of today? So, in Keetmans of today, apart from getting a briefing from the officials from the Ministry of Works and Transport, to give us an update, for instance, on the improvement at the government garage, because there has been improvement being made at the government garage. So we want to see whether these improvements indeed have taken place. The construction of certain workshops, did it take place? So that's one example. So we'll get a briefing. We'll also get a briefing on the officials from NIDA, for instance. They were expanding the Nautedem project, where we produce dates and grapes. We want to see these expansion activities, whether indeed they have taken place, and whether we are now able to produce more grapes and dates, so that we can create more employment opportunities for our people. So these are the kind of first of all discussions we are going to have. But apart from having discussions with the relevant officials, we will also visit the sites themselves for us to be on the ground and do and on the ground in a practical inspection of the project. So that's in essence what it entails when we are talking about projects. So this is just a snapshot of what we are going to do. As I said, from here we will also go to Windhoek, for instance. We will inspect the communication infrastructures that were installed at the airport, for instance, to enable planes to communicate directly with the towers. Are these communication infrastructure indeed have they been installed, and are they working effectively and optimally? We will also go to the hospital. There was a theater that was going to be improved. Was the money spent on the theater? Is the theater now in the hospital improved and expanded, and is delivering the service to our people? So those are the kind of engagements that we are going to be busy with for the next few days.
Now, Shimi, just correct me on this. I understand this is the committee's first visit to these projects for the year. Now, before this, have there been similar visits, and what stood out from the findings and the recommendations made during earlier inspections?
Well, for the 8th Parliament, you see, our committee is under the 8th Parliament, And this is our first visit in the Karas and the Maheke region. In December, the committee also visited some projects in Erongo. That was the first oversight visit for the 8th Parliament. And this is the second visit for our committee of the 8th Parliament. Obviously, before there were other committees, there were other oversight engagement, by the previous parliaments, like the 7th Parliament, for instance, visited, the railway infrastructure throughout the country, and we have seen their reports. So ours is basically a follow-up on what they have done and see whether there have been progress, but also specifically focusing on the projects that have been funded by the budget, or what is called the rolling budget from 2023, 2024 to up to 2025, 2026. That's the time frame that we are looking at. The others, we're looking at the previous time frame because the budget is continuous. So you need to make sure that whatever project is allocated money, there is a monitoring activity from the parliamentary committee, the relevant parliamentary committee, to see whether indeed these projects are making progress. Yes, as you said, in the Karas region, this is the first for this specific committee of the 8th Parliament. And as I said, there were previous engagement by the previous committees in the previous Parliament.
As you said, from the previous visits, from what you have seen so far, how would you describe the overall state of capital projects nationwide? Well,
I can only speak about Erongo because in the Karas region, this is our first day. We have not yet started. We are only going to start this morning, so I will not be able to give you any information about the Karas region. So if you ask me Friday or so, I will give you an update because I will be in a position to have some information because by that time we will have seen a number of projects. In Erongo, for instance, we have seen the upgrade to the railway line. So the railway line from Walfish Bay to Kransberg in Osakos, that has been completed. So money well spent. So that railway line is a modern railway line. So we now have to continue from Kransberg to Ochiwarongo up to Tsumeb and Grootfontein. That's work and that's work in progress. Mm-hmm. So that's what we have done. We have also inspected some roads in that area in Erongo, for instance, the Hifikepunye Pohamba road. That's almost completed. There is only a small section that still needs to be worked on. We have seen the progress on the Hendisbay Uwis road. That's also work under progress. So yes, from those projects that we have seen, there has been significant progress. So we are here to see whether the similar progress in the Karas region and Maheke as we go about visiting these projects from today on up to Saturday this week.
Shimi, looking back at the planning stages of these projects that you just mentioned, were these projects adequately prepared for long-term sustainability in terms of skills development, training, resources, and access to markets before they were launched or are to be launched?
Yeah, no, it will be premature to say whether the projects have been planned for sustainability. But the projects, these projects are funded by the budget, and there is a rigorous process that is always followed. And it's not always that of course, all the dots are crossed and things like that. But generally, there is a rigorous process before you are approved by the National Funding Commission to get money for a capital project. For instance, the railway line, for instance, we know there is a need to upgrade our railway line. We have aspirations to be a transport hub, to transport goods to and from the hinterlands, but also we are in the Karas region. The Northern Cape offers opportunities for us to transship their products, especially mineral products, through the port of Ludred. So the business case is there in many cases, and I think there's no question that we need to upgrade our railway line, for instance. Whether it has been done timely, whether it has been done in the cost-efficient manner, that is for us to see when we visit these projects and we speak to the relevant officials that we are going to engage with over the next few days. But that's the question that you have asked is very critical. The planning to ensure that the priorities get money, because if you don't spend money on priorities, this money will be wasted. so that, we improve, or we unlock economic opportunities, we improve service delivery, and therefore these projects should be impactful, in the lives of the people in terms of the outcomes of these projects. But that's something that we assess as we go along.
Now, Shimi, just to wrap it up under 1 minute in conclusion, as we are out of time, ultimately these projects are meant to serve communities. How are local communities supposed to benefit from capital projects, and in reality, have they fully benefited since these projects began operating?
Yes, in many ways. So for instance, let's take the railway line, for instance. Now, if the railway line is functioning, meaning it is transporting goods and services, it is improving, transport efficiency. So, for instance, business people in this area will be able to transport their goods, in a cost-effective manner. But the fact that we are also able to transship goods from our neighboring countries is also creating economic opportunities for our people. So, they will have to, they can offload, some of this produce that are being offloaded at the port of Lourdes, for instance. They can provide those services. Some people will get employed, and along the way, those that are along the way can also then, have some business opportunities. So these things have got a knock-on effect on our people in terms of creating more economic opportunities for our people. But if we talk about other public infrastructure, for instance, the hospital that we're going to visit in Lourdes, this is directly impacting on the service delivery of health services. If the theater is expanded and is able to, to treat people timely, people don't have to wait to go for operation because the theater is not ready, because the theater is small. It directly impacts on the health, on the well-being of people. And if it is expanded, service delivery will improve. The well-being of our people will be improved, and therefore it's directly speaking to the well-being of our people. Definitely, these projects are meant to improve service delivery and unlock economic opportunities in the area. People will definitely feel and see them.